It's only right that our first speaker today gives us a detailed analysis of SIF's aims, SIF's objectives and SAT strategy for the future. There's no better person to do so than the Chief Executive of the Scottish-Islamic Foundation. Please welcome on stage Mr. Osama Saeed.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I'm very excited to be able to welcome you here to our launch today. It's been a long time coming. The foundation has been in inception for around a year now, exactly a year in fact. And first of all, I'd like to pay tribute to all our volunteers that have made the foundation what it is and what it will be moving forward. It's an honour for me to work with such a committed and talented team that we've got. I hope that it continues to grow as well. The anniversary of the airport attack is an appropriate time to discuss our plan of action and to launch this organisation, not least because it was in large part due to that attack that the need for this foundation became apparent. There wasn't at that time a natural platform for younger Muslims to properly vent their feelings about the atrocity that had taken place. Our members organised that demonstration against the attack, and it was the first such time that Muslims had organised anything like that anywhere in the world. And it's this type of trend-setting creativity that we want to regularly bring to the Islamic scene. Now, Scotland's also the best place to have the type of discussion that we're going to have today. If we were launching this body anywhere else in Europe, we'd first of all have to state our position and action plan on integration and community cohesion. The Scottish Muslims are part of the rich tartan of this country, and no one can dispute that. It's what everybody recognises, and research has borne it out as well. In fact, research has shown that Muslims feel more Scottish actually than the rest of Scotland. And this is, I believe, the model we have in this country for the rest of Europe. And I've had cause to spend a fair bit of time with Muslims from across the continent over the last few months. One such opportunity was a few months ago when I had cause to visit the United States on a State Department organised visit. There was a group of 20 young Muslims from across Europe that went. And at one point during the 3 weeks, we visited a school deep in redneck territory in Texas, which actually blew apart a lot of my conceptions of what Texas was like. But we had to introduce our home countries at Assembly that day. And in my turn, I came up to introduce Scotland, and I'm giving it that we're the font of the Enlightenment. We invented tarmac, television, the telephone, the birthplace of soccer, and really bigging up the country. And what was apparent to me is that my colleagues from across the continent, though, at best were speaking mutually about their countries. And over the course of the weeks, we found that some of them felt deeply uneasy with their own identities. And this is because, either their rights are being abused, or they are actually just being abused because they're Muslim. And we're virtually the only country in Europe whose government can have a slogan such as "One Scotland, Many Cultures," without the bile of media hysteria coming down upon them. So with us not having to dwell on integration, we can focus the discussion on how we deepen that Muslim contribution to Scotland. And we see Islam as a force for good. Now, there seems to be two types of Muslim organisation that's out there at the moment. One of them, and they get a lot of coverage, says that Islam needs to be, in essence, brushed aside. We need to stop talking about our faith and, in essence, de-Islamify ourselves, or at least go through some form of strange, rigorous secularisation. Now, this isn't realistic or necessary. Our approach is to accentuate the progressive elements that are inherent within the Islamic faith. And if you look at our 5 objectives as an organisation, they're based on what modern Islamic scholarship says are the very objectives of Islam, which is freedom, respecting lives and people, education, supporting families and communities, and social justice. Now, normally people don't associate these things with Islamic faith. And to take just the first one, freedom, Certainly not. But this is one of the reasons actually that Islam was such a revolutionary message in the early days of the faith. It smashed tyranny wherever it went, and people embraced it because it was an open faith. Nowadays you look at the same lands though that were opened up to pluralism, and they're instead ruled by the most odious of tyrants, the Saudi royal family, and many other dictators that we know within the Muslim world. And worse still, many people in this country think that somehow Muslims support these dictators. We don't. And this brings me to the second type of Islamic group that is out there. Those that are too defensive to admit when things are going wrong. And this is a shame because self-criticism is central to our faith. We're told to take account of ourselves before we're taken account of. And the biggest problem with this approach is that if you don't admit there are problems, you're not going to have any solutions. We'll be open about confronting issues wherever they may exist. You may have already seen that we've spoken out on the issue of forced marriages, and we shouldn't be scared of doing so. And action is what we're about. Our slogan is belief in action. The two go hand in hand. We want to lift many Muslims, and there are many Muslims out there that have a sense of fatalism or cynicism about the level of things that they can achieve, and we want to lift them out of this and move into constructive activity. And one of those core focuses for us is going to be Muslim youth. Most of the Foundation's team are themselves young, so this is an important issue to our hearts. Half the Muslim community is under the age of 25, which means that not only are Muslim youth our future, but they are here and now. And Scotland is not getting most of their potential. There are issues around education, about employment, and about crime. And everyone obviously wants to talk about extremism as well. Now, our leadership training program aims to teach young Muslims how to be good Muslims and good citizens. And indeed, that the former demands the latter. We've already had a number of weekend residentials and day programs, all of which have been oversubscribed, and we intend to widen and deepen this area of work. When talking about youth, the topic of Islamic schools inevitably also crops up. Now, our belief is that the establishment of a state-funded Islamic school would be an excellent addition to our already diverse education system. It's something that will no doubt be taken forward with local authorities later in the year. But this would only benefit perhaps a couple of hundred kids. By contrast, by our estimates, there are literally thousands of children that are attending at the moment daily after-school madrasas in local mosques. Now, unfortunately, all too often these establishments are poorly resourced and poorly financed. And many adults that have been through the system will tell tales of a joyless existence and difficulties played out during childhood. I heard one of the most prominent imams in the country actually acknowledge that 2 hours every night meant that a child could spend over 5,000 hours of childhood at these madrasas and actually be no better off than someone who hadn't done it. Now, this has serious implications. It's an added strain on young people that not many people are factoring in. There's less time for homework, less time for play. Now, we're committed to working with our mosques and improving the standards of these institutions. They should be able to impart not just Quran and Islamic studies, but also help boost wider educational attainment. They should be able to produce citizens. They should be centres that we can all be proud of. Now, on the issue of Muslim and non-Muslim relations, we're planning a massive festival entitled Islam Expo in early 2010. It will be the largest event ever held by the Muslim community in Scotland, but it won't be aimed at the Muslim community in Scotland. We want to talk to the entire country. Not only that, but we believe that this is an opportunity for Scotland to reach out to the Muslim world. Some people talk about a clash of civilizations, but we believe that Scotland is uniquely placed to avoid this happening. Glasgow Airport showed that we can stay out of this debate, and the festival will show the world how Muslims and non-Muslims can coexist. We'll reach out to progressive elements within the Muslim world, and this cultural engagement will enrich us all. But there's a financial engagement too. London has presented itself as a gateway to Islamic finance and brought in billions into the economy there. Now, there's no reason why Edinburgh and Glasgow, with their financial services industries, can't be hubs and benefit from this kind of investment too. Last month, for example, we saw Turnberry golf course taking over an improvement plan and a plan of investment being put by Dubai there. And there can be many more financial exchanges if we reach out to elements within the Muslim world. Now, to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we went around consulting about the foundation over the last year, about what it should be and what it should do. And there's two things that kept coming up over and over again. And that was that, firstly, we need to elevate the status of our young people. And secondly, we need to fix the image of Islam that exists in the public mind. And that is exactly what we're going to set about doing. And we hope to work with you on this in the coming months and years. Thank you very much.